Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. Today I thought we could have a little car chat and I could tell you about the surgery I got, my liposuction that I got about a month ago, maybe a little over a month ago. Because I didn't really talk about it since then. I haven't made a lot of videos actually since then. And I thought it might be interesting to kind of let you know what happened, what the process was and how I've been healing and what I've been doing. Yeah, let me get into that. Ahead of time for people, trigger warning that I'm going to be talking about weight loss. I'm going to be talking about surgical procedures. I'm going to be talking about liposuction specifically. I'm going to be talking about pubic area. So if any of those things are upsetting to you or you don't want to hear about it, see you later. Have a good day. But yeah, that's where we're starting. Okay, so last year I lost 50 pounds, well, into this year, but within the last, handful of months, I've lost 50 pounds because I'm trying to get a breast reduction. And my insurance wouldn't do it and also couldn't even pay out of pocket for it without losing weight. They want you to be a specific BMI before they'll allow you to get one at all. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess I have to do this. And so since then I've lost 55 pounds, I think. Because of that, I have fat stored obviously in various parts of my body, and one of those places was my fupa, is fat upper pubic area. The mons pubis generally, if you want to Google it, I wouldn't, but you can. And because my stomach had been receding, maybe not the right word. I've been losing weight in my stomach area, but not losing weight in that area. It was slowly beginning where they were sticking out the same amount. And I kind of showed how far my pubic area at the time was sticking out to really make it make sense why I was I just want liposuction right here. I had also researched hey, can you lose weight from this area at all? And they were no, it's stubborn fat. It'll only go away if you get surgery. And I was well, it's unfortunate, but I guess that's what we're gonna do. So I went and had a consultation about it, was decently happy with the price and was okay, I can pay for that, no problem. And decided to book the surgery. They were able to get me in for surgery in a week, pretty quick. And I was excited about that. I was kind of nervous, but especially because my breast reduction referral has been delayed. I had an appointment about it in February, early February, and they refused to give me a referral, my doctor, because apparently they now require you to try to do PT and massage before they'll let you even attempt to get a referral to get a breast reduction. So had to do that. But since that was on stall, I was okay, let's do this surgery and then we can space them out a little bit, which will be good for healing. And then I can feel I'm doing something instead of just kind of sitting around waiting to jump through some more hoops for my insurance. So it was nice that I was able to get in I think mid to late February. Yeah, I had a consultation. They, talked to me about it generally, and I was able to get my medications that I needed for after. But the actual day was kind of interesting, so I'll tell you about that now. Okay, so the surgery was a few cities over from where I live, so I had to get an Uber there because I wasn't allowed to drive after because I was high on various medications. You're not fully put under, which is I guess nice in that it's less dangerous if you're not being fully sedated. I would have liked to have been fully sedated. It was uncomfortable and I didn't like being awake. They were oh, you can't really feel it. And I'm I can sort of feel it and I don't like it. They give you Xanax and stuff, but I didn't have enough for sure. It was uncomfortable and I was anxious for a decent amount of it. But I got there early, so I hung out in the lobby of this building that it's connected to, and then almost had the security guy come over to me and be well, I had the security guy come over and he was excuse me, do you have business in this building? And I was yeah, I do, which I was proud of myself because in past times I would have been oh no, I'm in trouble, oh no, authority figure is mad at me, and I was just I'm allowed to be here, I have a meeting in 30 minutes. He was like, okay, and then left, and I was like, haha, I've won. Anyway, but then, so I was there a little early. I hung out. I hydrated. I had a meal like they told me to. And then went over there a little bit early, but I really had to go to the bathroom. So I was like, I'm just going to go. And I knew they wanted me to do like a pee test. So I was like, well, if I'm going to the bathroom, I need to do it there. So I got there a little early. They let me do that. They took me to a room. I waited in that room for 1 or 2 hours, probably a long time. And so long that at the beginning I was anxious. And then by the end of it, I was just bored. So in some ways, good job. It got me less anxious. So that's nice. But hung out there so long. And then also the nurse was like, oh, I figured out why it's taking so long. It's because you were here early. And I'm like, I mean, I was there early, but like maybe 15 or 20 minutes early. So I was like, okay, like we don't need to blame me for why it's taking so long. Like, even if it is my fault, well, what kind of bedside manner is like, well, you shouldn't have got here so early. Like, just, it's fine. I wasn't even mad. I understood it was going to take time, and they didn't even give me like a specific time. They were like, well, he's doing a surgery before you, so it's whenever he's done. And I was like, that's fair. But so, oh, little rain. I don't know if you can hear that. ASMR. Anyway, so I waited in there so long, and just kind of chilled out, naked in a robe until it was time to be evaluated. So eventually the doctor came in, checked me out, was like confused why I wanted like just the pubic area done. Because I think a lot of people do like tummy tuck and pubic area together. Like I think it's like a mommy makeover package. Ugh, I hate that. But that's like the idea, I think. But then like after checking me out, sounds gross. After, checking out the area, was like, oh, no, that makes sense why that would be your concern. So I was like, great. I'm glad my plan makes sense to you now that you've seen my body. It was like slightly affirming though, of being like, oh no, yeah, this is like, this is kind of bizarre in the way that you got your shit. So thanks. Anyway, and then, yeah, they gave me some Xanax, they gave me some stuff. I wish they had told me ahead of time that we were going to be listening to music the whole time. Cause they played music the whole time while I was laying on the thing. While I was like, they were checking my vitals, while they were giving me various, things. And they were like, oh, what do you want to listen to? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I can't spontaneously be like, play this. So we just listened to like some girl power music generally. But then I was like just talking about music because we had music mentioned and I was on Xanax. So I was like, oh, I really like Rush is my favorite band. And so she started playing Rush. But like, playing 2112 because I said I really like 2112 and I was like, well, you don't have to play it. I was just talking. Just me having autism being like, I like this band, and then they're like, oh, that's what you want to listen to, and I'm like, no, I'm just talking. And then I said like I really like Bare Naked Ladies, so they started playing Bare Naked Ladies, or like I was talking about a concert I went to, those Bare Naked Ladies. I do really like them. But anyway, so then it was just, I wish they had just warned me. I would have made a playlist and I would have just shared it to them and been like, listen to this while I'm being surgically worked upon. But we didn't do that. Unfortunately, so it's just weird music, random stuff. Anyway, yeah, the surgery itself was like kind of uncomfortable in that like I don't think I had enough Xanax, and just physically uncomfortable. Part of the problem I think is also the autism, in that like I'm much more aware of my body in some ways, and like every little movement and feeling around it. And so even though they like numbed up the area generally, one, I don't know if they did it enough. And two, I think just no matter what, I was going to kind of feel like the like little, I don't know what it's called, like whatever, like little scoop they're doing like in there, that I was going to feel that kind of no matter what probably. And so like that was pretty uncomfortable, that like it's sometimes it didn't matter. It was like, oh, I can barely feel it. And then other times it was like, oh no, this is like uncomfortable. It's like painful, like not pain, like maybe like a 2 on the pain scale, but like kind of painful, not enjoyable enough that I was like, ooh, I sometimes was like, like kind of gritting my teeth moan, in uncomfortability. And I wasn't trying to, right? I wasn't like, hey, you're hurting me. I was like, ooh, I'm trying not to be, like, ow. And, felt like because of that, it felt like it took a long time. I'm sure it didn't take a long time. It probably took like 20 or 30 minutes maximum, but felt longer. And just like, cause I could feel it like physically, I don't want to talk about it too much cause it's gross, but I could feel like physically moving under me, and sometimes kind of icky. But yeah, we're finished. We were able to get it done. He was like, I removed 500 cc's of fat. Like great news. And I was like, awesome. I don't know if that's a lot or not. Like that you telling me the number is meaningless to me. Like that doesn't mean anything to me. Great. It sounded like he thought that was a lot. Like he was like, oh, so that's nice in that sounds like it was made sense to do once again, but otherwise don't really know. Anyway, so we finished surgery and I was just chilling, I had to get into like the compression garment and stuff, and they had to like walk me through like what's up with the garment and how to, wear it and what to do and etc. I, at that point, was pretty kind of loopy and kind of just like, well. So maybe they just didn't wait long enough for the Xanax to kick in for me. Cause I was pretty loopy then. But, like hydrated me, gave me like a snack, and then I just had to wait for my friend Haley pick me up. I had to wait for Haley to get there, and then she drove me home. We've since talked about this drive home. I thought I remembered it pretty good. And then I later was like telling her something, and then she was like, yeah, you were talking about that in the car. And I was like, oh, I don't remember that. And then she was like, yeah, you're talking to me about your crush, and you were talking to me about how your face is thinner and you think that makes you look less cute, and you were talking to me about wanting to go to Taco Bell. I was like, man, all makes sense to me. Yeah, so I was pretty out of it by then. Luckily Haley drove me home, and then she hung out for a little bit, but I think because also I was out of it, she was like, I'm gonna go. And I was like, that's fair. But big preach, Haley. Haley is my one of my best friends and my surgery partner. Like every time I get a surgery, Haley is helping me. Well, every time, like I do it all the time. The few times that I've had surgery, Haley has been incredibly helpful. So thank you, Haley. Oh, now it's rated. Anyway, she got me home. I got upstairs. I went to sleep. I fell asleep pretty immediately for like 4 hours because I was just exhausted, I guess. And I was really worried about sleep because I sleep on my stomach generally, and I was not allowed to do that for weeks because of it, where the area is, that it's on my front, and so therefore was not allowed to lay on it. And not only not allowed to, at some point I accidentally like laid on my front just because I was like moving around on my bed, and I was like, immediately no. And that was like a week or two after, so it was like not even right away. So I was like, ooh. But I was able to sleep on my back, which was good because I'm almost never able to. And I'm not anymore. Now I think it was like one night I was able to, and the rest of it was like, ugh. But anyway, I've been sleeping on my side. Okay. I think that's probably not the most recommended, but I truly cannot sleep on my back. It's just not doable for my brain and body. I don't know why. And so, but I slept for like 4 hours, and then I woke up and I went downstairs and ate something and then just went back to sleep, basically. And just slept a ton, which is good, good for healing. You gotta sleep. And I was able to sleep on my back that night because I was so exhausted. So, and I had so many drugs in my system to help me sleep, and keep calm. So that's good. Since then, at the beginning, it was really swollen in the area, so it's really hard to tell if anything is going properly. And also you have to wear this compression garment, which was like super uncomfortable for me. to be wearing. Not even the compression part of it, but there was like zippers on the sides that were like digging into my skin, and it was super uncomfortable, and I hated it, and it just made me incredibly irritable. And also I had to take antibiotics at the beginning, you know, to make sure I didn't get infection, which is good, but also I just hate taking antibiotics, and because it's like you have to do them like exactly perfectly spaced out, and I have ADHD, and so that's hard for me to do. And I have one time I'm so exaggeratory. One time when I had antibiotics that were like, you have to take them 3 times a day, like 8 hours apart. I was like, I have to wake up in the middle of the night or something to take this, or like I have to do it so specifically. And one time I accidentally overdosed myself on antibiotics, and I started having weird symptoms, and I was like, oh, I feel weird. And I Googled it, and it was like, yeah, that's because you took too many. And I was like, oh. So I have done that before. Luckily, these were every 12 hours, so it's like much easier to do for my ADHD. And, I, you know, got through them, which was nice. And that was like one hurdle down for healing. Got the compression garment off after like 2 weeks, I think, which was nice because it was like I said, super uncomfortable. I still have it, and I was using it a little bit earlier, like in this week, but I have stopped using it now. Oh, and then the first like time you take a shower, you have to shower. Like, you're not allowed to take the compression garment off for like a few days, and then your first shower you have to use this like weird sponge that they use, I guess, for like when they're doing surgery on you to like clean their arms and stuff, because like antimicrobial or whatever. But like they were like, oh, do this on like your incision sites, and make sure you don't use it again. Like, they were super intense about not using it again. And I was like, okay. Like, it was like, throw it away. And I'm like, I will. Why would people keep it? I don't understand. But anyway, but I was expecting it to just be a regular sponge, and then it was like, had like, it looks like little hairs on the top of it. They were gross. And I was like, ooh, that just, the texture of that looks bad. And then also I was like worried about doing it on my incision sites because they were like a little sore the first day or two. So I was like, oh, I don't want it to hurt. And it did not really hurt, but I did read the instructions, and it was like, oh, scrub it for like 3 to 5 minutes or something. And I was like, what? That's so long. So when I thought, especially when I thought it was going to hurt, and it was just like super stressful of a thing, you know. I also like didn't want to be out of the compression garment too long, because they're like to wear it constantly at the beginning. And so, it was really stressful, but got through it, and it was okay. I don't know that I did it, you know, right, but did it, and they appear to be healing fine. So that's good. One of the other issues I've had is I wasn't able to take a bath for, you know, many weeks. And I regularly take like hot baths for muscle pain. I get a lot of muscle pain, especially my like shoulder back area, you know, from the boobs. And so that's one of the major ways I treat that issue and that pain, but also with my lower back, with my knee sometimes. And then I just kind of have muscle aches generally. So like, huge part of my life is taking hot baths. Like, usually I take at least one hot bath a day, and I wasn't able to do it for weeks, and it was awful. Especially because they were like, it was like, when can I start doing that again? And they were like, well, when the incisions heal. And I was like, okay, like in a couple weeks. And they were like, I don't know, depends on the person. And I get that that's true, you know, I know what they're saying, but I was like, could you just give me a guess about how much time, please? And then I was nervous about like, are they actually healed, etc., you know, because I didn't want to like get stuff in there and, yeah, infected and everything. But we're back to baths again. Great news. And it's been fine. The only like weird things I've had going on are like, in the beginning, I was swelling a ton, and so it was like hard for me even after like 2 weeks to be like, did anything happen? Like, did it change? I don't know. And now I'm like, no, for sure, it looks different for sure. So progress has been made. Whether or not it's gonna be like where I want it to be is iffy. We'll see. Apparently, you don't actually know like fully if it's healed. It's not like fully healed. I think they said for 6 months, and that they won't really know even the results for 3 months. So it takes a while for it to be like, even for the swelling that's like left over to go down. But that was like the most swollen. I did bring this up to them on the phone because I was nervous about it and being like, oh, did I waste this money and time? And I'm in all this pain. And then like, I'm not even gonna have like a decent result here. But since then, I had that conversation, made sure like they made a note that, you know, like I was like, I don't know if this worked for me, amazing. But they were like, well, even if it was bad, we wouldn't correct it for like 6 months, which was like, thank goodness, because the last thing I want is for them to do this again in like 2 months and then me to just have to do it again. You know, I was like, push it out a little bit. Great news. If we're going to do that again, I'd like it to be not for a while. But then, since then, the swelling has gone down like significantly. So I'm happy with that. I still think it could be, you know, it's not maybe ideal, but I do think the area looks significantly better. And I can tell that it's still swollen to some extent. So I think I would still have some swelling to go down, and it'll be, you know, looking different as I go. But the other thing, and this is like kind of gross, not that all of this has been gross, but one of the side effects you can get is like under your skin, like hard bits, I don't know what else to say, like just like little spots, or like I don't know what this is, like a tube kind of shape that you could feel, that's like hard. It's like a different texture than like the rest of your like fat and like muscle and skin. And I do have some of that going on. Apparently that could be fluid buildup. It could be like fibrosis, which is like a scar tissue thing, that you might need to get like surgically removed potentially, but it is in like the packet or whatever of like things that you might experience. And they were like, you won't know until 6 months out if it's like a problem or not. And at first it was like super stressing me out. It was painful. Like, even just like sitting and kind of existing was like painful. So that's part of why I started using the compression garment again, because it was supposed to help. It's maybe helped, I don't know, but didn't seem like it's helping that much. So I was like, well, we're done. And I do think it's getting better right now. I think it's improving, so that's good. But for a minute, it was like so stressful to me. And then just because it was like made me uncomfortable, it was like physically painful just to like sit for a long time. It was like kind of painful. But now I think we're in a good spot. I'm feeling good about it. I like don't think about it a ton right now. I'm able to sleep on my front again, which is nice, like comfortably. And yeah, I think I'm getting there as far as healing goes. And then now I'm fully on the like train about the breast reduction. We're working on my PT finally got scheduled for that. Got all my massages scheduled out for that. I've been to 2 massages and 1 PT. I have 2 or 3 more PT appointments, and I have 6 more massages. And we won't be able to have that new appointment until May. And right now it's like, I think May 20th is when I have my appointment. So that's when those updates will be. If anything else significant happens with this surgery, I'll let you know and I'll make an update video. But yeah, just wanted you to know kind of my experience, what I've been feeling, what's been happening to me currently with it. And that it was successful, we think, probably. But like, you know, I'm okay. I'm doing pretty good about it. And yeah, that's it, I think. So thanks for watching. Appreciate you following me on this weird journey, and I'll see you later. Bye.